Good morning everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful morning, or if you're watching this video in the evening or at any other time of the day, I hope you're having a great day. It's still nice and cold here. I love the winter. I love wearing jumpers and feeling all rugged up, and yeah, it just makes me really happy, especially in Brisbane. We're so lucky, like we just have blue skies all the time, which is great. Anyway, today I'm going to do downward dog. Now, probably even if you're not that familiar with yoga, you've probably heard of this pose before. It's quite common, especially if you do practice yoga like in vinyasa or ashtanga. You're doing downward dog all the time. So I think perhaps it's another pose that maybe the yoga instructor doesn't really go through all that often, because it does crop up in classes all the time. So you might be doing it a certain way for a long time and not realizing whether your form is correct or whether you're stretching the right muscles and stuff like that. So I thought it would be nice to go through and see how we go and check out my own form, because it's pretty difficult to sort of look at yourself when you're in these poses. So we'll see how we go. Cool. Alright, I'm going to flip around this way. Now, obviously if you've just woken up or if you've been sitting down all day, you might be quite stiff. So it's always suggested when you first start doing downward dog to sort of pedal out your feet, and then we'll try and get proper alignment after that. So we're kind of like stretching out the the ankles and the hamstrings and stuff like that, trying to loosen everything up a little bit. And then we'll go in and try and get that proper form with different parts of your body, and we'll see how we go. Cool. Right, so we can start in tabletop position. Knees hip distance apart, pushing out slightly through our shoulders, and then we'll just sort of pop ourselves up. As I said, pedaling out, stretching, 1 foot at a time. Right, and when you feel nice and comfortable, sort of see if we can stretch into the pose. Now, the thing with downward dog is, I'll just pop down for a second, the aim is not to necessarily get your heels on the ground perfectly. Your legs don't have to be perfectly straight. The main things that you really want to focus on is opening up your side body here. So you want to create length from your palms on the ground to through your side body, and straight spine as possible. So if you need to bend your knees like quite a lot, or if you need to lift those heels off the ground, totally fine. It's all part of the process, and you just have to start where you can and see how you go. And you don't want to be in any pain when you're doing these poses, like especially if you have done a vinyasa class. The downward dog's meant to be like a resting pose, so if you're in excruciating pain while you're doing it, you're not really resting. So with the hand contact, like a lot of poses, you want to get that contact with the knuckles of your hand. Some people sort of say like you're sort of making like a little suction cap with the center of your palm, and you're spreading those fingers out. So you want, can't really see in the camera, but yeah, you want like a even coverage on the floor, probably shoulder distance when you're going down. And again, you're pushing out of those shoulders as much as possible. And again, a lot of teachers say you're lifting the tail to the sky. So it's not about having straight legs, as I said. It's about trying to create that straight spine. So all the way from your head, all the way up to your sacrum area, your tailbone. So really focus on that length, and then the legs will come. So you don't need to be a perfect little upside down V shape. You're just trying to lengthen out as much as possible. And you do get a nice stretch along that side body there as well if when you do it correctly. With your legs, if you are quite flexible in your hamstrings and your ankles, you can have your heels down. Try and keep hip distance apart, and If you're like me, I tend to always drop my knees in, drop my ankles in, I guess. My arches fall in really easily. So really try and concentrate on drawing those arches up and draw your kneecaps up towards your hips. So that's going to make your legs nice and solid and strong as well. Obviously, if your knees are bent, just try and, keep them nice and loose and relaxed, and just focus on your upper body getting that alignment correct. And as that sort of happens, slowly you might be able to get your ankles and your heels closer to the ground. So again, alright, so starting tabletop. And with your head as well, you're looking through, again, you're keeping that straight spine, so you're effectively like looking down towards your feet. You don't want to be looking up. So stretch those fingertips, push up, tailbone up, pushing out through your shoulders, lift up through those knees, lift up through your arches, and just kind of, you can bounce a little bit, press down and see how you feel. Now, again, there are variations, as with a lot of poses. So if you have a little bit of weakness in your wrists, sometimes some bricks can help you out. You sort of have them underneath. Just takes a little bit of pressure off your upper body. If that's still really too sensitive for your wrists, you can also do a bit more like a dolphin pose, so on your forearms, and you lift up. And another thing as well, if your heels are off the ground, feel free to have a bit of support under them so they don't feel like they're floating in the air. So you can put like a rolled blanket or a pillow or something underneath them, just to give you that bit of support. And yeah, I mean, again, there's heaps of variations and stuff like that, but that's probably the main ones that I sort of can think of off the top of my head. If you have any other suggestions, any sort of ways that you like to think about it when you're doing it, please let me know. Awesome. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.